Hey guys, I'm back again. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Galaxy S21 Fan Edition after using it for about 2 weeks. I'll start off by going over some of the things I do not like about the phone, and I'll wrap it up by some of the things I do like about the phone. First of all, it is missing the micro SD card support, which is a shame because the Galaxy S20 Fan Edition did have that, so they are technically taking away a feature. This would definitely annoy a lot of the hardcore fan, but they did the same thing with the main series, so they're keeping the same trend there. Second, IR Blaster is still gone. I know they got rid of it since the S7, and I'm still not letting it go at this point. They had it on the Galaxy S6, and it's just one less thing to look for. I know these days everything is connected by Wi-Fi, but it's not the same thing if the TV is off. Sometimes the Wi-Fi, you can't really turn on the TV. I guess you can get a smart switch, but it's not the same. But I'm pretty sure the data out there shows that not a lot of people were using it, so that's why they got rid of it. But I think if you complain about it enough, they might bring it back one day. Just like the micro SD support, they actually got rid of it in the Galaxy S6, and then they brought it back in the Galaxy S7. Fingers crossed, there might be a little bit hope down the line, but who knows. Camera on this phone is pretty much standard Galaxy photos. It doesn't blow you away, but it is more than enough for most people. The worst thing about this phone is it is definitely released at a bad time. It is called the Galaxy S21 Fan Edition, but it is released in early 2022, and then about a month after it is released, the Galaxy S22 is gonna come out, so that's definitely gonna steal all the headline, and it is the main phone that Samsung is gonna be marketing. And for the phone itself, I do wish that the volume rocker was a little bit lower, especially since the fingerprint sensor is all the way at the bottom. Sometimes you would need to touch the center at the bottom and then reach all the way to the top if you want to adjust the volume. That part of it is a little annoying. And overall, just using the phone, if you have used other Galaxy phones in the past, it is kind of boring but safe. They have everything that you really know and like about Samsung products. I still use my Galaxy S20 pretty often, and the experience is pretty much similar. I know this one got the newer processor with the Snapdragon 888 compared to the Galaxy S20, but on a day-to-day basis, just using basic apps, watching YouTube, there's really not much of a difference, to be honest. Although this phone is $700, so it is technically $300 cheaper than the Galaxy S20 when it was released, so there's still a lot of value there in a sense. And I wish taking screenshot was a little bit easier on this phone. On the Pixel, you can just slide up from the bottom. In the recent app, they have an option for you to just click on take a screenshot, which is a little bit easier. This one, I find myself using the physical button on the side, but since all the buttons are lined up on one side, you have to hold down the volume down and the power button at the same time. It takes a little bit more effort than just simply doing recent app and taking a screenshot. And like I mentioned earlier, the finger sensor is too low on this phone for it being kind of a long phone. I wish it was a little bit closer towards the middle than the bottom, so you kind of have to stretch back and forth if you're trying to unlock the phone and you want to adjust the volume. Kind of a weird placement there. I remember the S21 series, they did make it a little bit higher as well. The Pixel is definitely higher, and even the Galaxy S20, the fingerprint sensor is much higher. I'm not sure why they decided to push it all the way to the bottom again. So it's definitely bothered me to the point that it is worth pointing out. One thing I did notice about using this phone is it is actually a little bit slow in certain cases. Like if I'm trying to search for a specific app, it takes like a second or two to actually show up, which is kind of surprising because on the Pixel 6 and even my S20, all the apps pretty much comes up instantly the second that I search for it. This one, there are random times where it takes like a second or two to finally show up, and ironically, every time when I want to record to capture it, it works perfectly. I'm not sure why that's the case. That is an issue that I do encounter a lot. And another thing I don't like about the phone is since the camera hump is all in one corner, it does rock a little bit if you're using it on the table and you are texting. It kind of bounces up and down. Unlike the Google Pixel 6 where everything is flat, you don't really get that bouncing feedback as you're using the phone on the table. Now on to the things that I do like about this phone is the plastic matted back. It actually feels pretty clean. Even though it is a cheaper material, I do like that it is more durable, so if you do drop it, it is less likely to break compared to glass. The higher end model tend to use glass and all the fancier, more expensive material, but I always appreciate the durability. Most people put on cases anyway, so it is a moot point. But I do like that the material they use, it does not have a lot of fingerprint compared to like the glass back. Face unlock is also super fast on this phone. It is not as secure compared to the iPhone series, but I'd rather make that determination myself. Overall, it's actually a pretty light phone for the size. It is significantly lighter than the Pixel 6 series. Some may think it feels a little bit cheaper, but coming from the Pixel 6, I do kind of prefer the lightweight. It is a little bit easier to carry around, so I actually like that. I used the Galaxy Fold 3 in the past, and it's actually super heavy and really hard to hold with one hand. So having a light phone is actually really convenient. I mean, at one point between like the Galaxy S3, 4, 5, 6, they were trying to make it thinner, lighter, and smaller. And then when the Galaxy S7 came up, they started to make it a little bit bigger again. I don't know, so these things come and goes in terms of trend, but at the end of the day, it is a nice light phone and it feels comfortable in the hand, and I'm pretty happy with it. Overall, if you are familiar with Samsung UI that you have known and love, everything's pretty much standard, so really no surprises there. One thing I do really like is the Samsung Knox, basically a password manager that's kind of built in. I'm pretty sure you can always download some random app out there, LastPass or other password managers, but I always like the one that Samsung has since it's already built into the phone, and it's just super convenient when you're especially when you're jumping from phone to phone. It is a lot easier just to log in certain apps or website, and it's all built in there. And Google have something similar as well, especially using like the Chrome browser, but I feel like in the apps it's just much more convenient that way. And that's something that I always enjoy since I do change phones pretty frequently. And in the past I have always used the buttons for navigation, but after using the Pixel 6 I actually got used to the gestures, so you can turn it on if you prefer it that way. I mean, there's pros and cons in both, but I feel like the gesture is a little bit easier, especially since you can just go back by swiping the edges versus having to always reach down to the bottom when you want to go back or hit the recent app. So I think there's definitely more pros and cons there, but I can see the case for both navigation methods. 120Hz is definitely smoother and more crisp compared to the 90Hz on the Google Pixel 6, but once again, for me personally, I really can't really tell the difference between the two. I mean, if you have them side by side and you're scrolling it, the 120 is going to be a little bit faster and smoother, but at the end of the day, I'm not like staring at the animation. I'm just like scrolling to Twitter, maybe read a news article here and there, and I have YouTube videos playing in the background. And I don't really play graphic intensive games either. Most I ever play is a Pokemon trading card game, so it's nothing too crazy. And I guess you play Pokemon Go too, you can definitely notice the smooth animation, which is nice, but it's nothing groundbreaking. And I do notice that the speaker on the Galaxy S21 Fan Edition is pretty loud. It is louder than the Google Pixel 6. Just listening to music or podcast videos, I always find that the Pixel 6 is always at max volume, and I want it to go a little bit higher, versus the Galaxy S21 Fan Edition. I feel like it always has sufficient volume. But there you have it. Pros and cons of the S21 Fan Edition. It is a pretty safe option. It is pretty much $100 cheaper than the standard Galaxy S21, but at the same time, since it's been out for almost a year, the Galaxy S21 you might be able to find it cheaper as well. Samsung phones do tend to go on sale a lot, so it's definitely in a weird place, but overall it's a decent phone. You're looking to get a bigger size phone at a cheaper price instead of going to the Plus or the Ultra model. It is a nice budget option, but I personally will wait for the Galaxy S22 series just to see what they have to offer, and even when that come out, you're likely gonna see more sales on the Fan Edition as well. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Galaxy S21 Fan Edition, and if you will be getting it or you're gonna be waiting for the Galaxy S22. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.